Memories are our most cherished possessions. We rely on them every day of our lives. They make us who we are. And yet the truth is, they are far from being the accurate record of the past we like to think they are. True, we can all admit to having suffered occasional memory lapses, such as entering a room and immediately forgetting why, or suddenly being unable to recall the name of someone we've met dozens of times. But what if our minds have the potential for more profound errors that enable the manipulation or even outright fabrication of our memories? Can you trust your memory? Picture this. You are in a room full of strangers, and you're going around introducing yourself. You say your name to about a dozen people, and they say their names to you. How many of these names are you going to remember? More importantly, how many of these names are you going to misremember? Perhaps you call a person you just met John instead of Jack. This kind of thing happens all the time. Now, magnify the situation. You are talking to a close friend, and you disclose something important to them, perhaps even something traumatic. You might, for example, say you witnessed the Paris attacks in 2015. But how can you know for sure that your memory is accurate? Like most people, you probably feel that misremembering someone's name is totally different from misremembering an important and emotional life event that you could never forget. #Je suis Paris, and will always have stable and reliable memories of such atrocities. I'm sure that is what those who witnessed 9/11, the 7/7 bombings in London, or the assassination of JFK also thought. However, when experimenters conduct research on the accuracy of these so-called flashbulb memories, they find that many people make grave errors in their recollections of important historical and personal events. And these errors are more than just omissions. Confidently wrong. Much like our ability to switch the name John with Jack without realizing, we can quite easily change details of more important events in our memories without noticing. We can come to remember seeing and doing things that never happened. And the sneaky part is that in our minds, these errors look and feel just like our other memories. These kinds of memory errors are called false memories, and they are the subject of considerable study around the world. According to the science of false memories, even those you most cherish are prone to corruption and distortion. Even now, if you were to try to recall exactly what happened during the Paris attacks, you would probably get some important details wrong. If I asked you in 20 years' time, your errors would almost certainly be even worse. Yet, despite this erosion in memory accuracy, research shows that you are likely to remain stubbornly confident in your memories. As our memories fade, we often become confidently wrong. Making matters worse, some people can hijack this process. When I say that people can hijack our memories, I mean that they can convince us that we experienced things that either did not happen to us or did not happen at all. Bad therapy. False memories can be generated by family members, police interview tactics, or therapeutic settings. Some popular psychological treatments, particularly psychoanalysis and regression therapy, are particularly problematic. In the 1980s and 1990s, the world erupted into what was referred to as the Satanic Panic, because therapists were sending their patients home with memories of horrendous things, like childhood sexual abuse. The therapists, not fully understanding how flexible our memories are, thought they had uncovered real traumatic events that could explain the mental problems from which their patients were suffering. However, as it turned out, many therapists had unintentionally implanted false memories into their patients. The therapists had used a problematic mix of assumptions about their clients' pasts, that there must be trauma to explain the psychosis, and imagination exercises, whereby they asked the patients to picture what it could have been like to be abused. Repeated over many weeks, and with the therapist reinforcing any details the patients generated, these memories had the chance to grow into monsters. The same kinds of techniques that can allow therapists to implant false memories are also relevant for friends, family, and the police. Mistaking imagination for memory can happen quickly and unknowingly. We should be very cautious when other people try to convince us of their version of reality. If we aren't careful, their version of reality might become ours. on being human. Whether your own memory is messing with itself, like when you mix up names or details of historical events, or others are interfering with your memory, it seems that your memories are nothing but an illusion. But if you think this declaration sounds bleak, then you misunderstand me. I think that the flexible and creative heap of brain cells that form the foundation of your memories is the most beautiful thing about us. The plasticity of it means that we can think abstractly by making associations between things that didn't happen in real life. And it allows us to solve puzzles by thinking about many different possible solutions. Without the flexibility that comes with our memories, we would also be unable to learn and would always be stuck with old memories. Instead, we are able to rewrite information when better information comes along. We can update our memory banks regularly. We can learn from our mistakes. How to implant false memories in your friends in 4 steps. In The Demon-Haunted World, Carl Sagan argued that implanting false memories in people is not only possible, but is actually pretty easy when attempted in the proper settings with a gullible subject. He cited as examples people who, at the urging of therapists or hypnotists, genuinely start to believe that they'd been abducted by UFOs, or falsely remember being abused as a child. For these people, the distinction between memory and imagination becomes blurred, and events that never actually took place become sewn into their memories as real events. They can even describe these false remembrances incredibly vividly, as if they actually happened. Memory can be contaminated, Sagan wrote. False memories can be implanted even in minds that do not consider themselves vulnerable and uncritical. Sagan's insight provides a segue into step 1 of our plot to implant a memory, which is made possible by a simple fact. Your friends, while undoubtedly honest, funny, supportive, and intelligent, probably don't all possess invulnerable and critical minds. Thus, the first step is to select one of your friends who, in your estimation, is prone to suggestion. Please note that you should be acquainted with this friend for at least 5 years and have shared experiences with him or her. This will enhance your believability and thus your odds of success. Once you've got your target singled out, the next and possibly the most critical step is to fabricate a memory. The false memory should have taken place at least a year in the past, not be unduly intricate, and not be something that might engender strong feelings of emotion. Studies have shown that it's easy to make people falsely recall small details about events. But as the fake memories grow in complexity and specificity, implantation grows progressively harder, though not impossible. After 3 interviews, researchers at Western Washington University succeeded in getting subjects to recall details about accidentally spilling a bowl of punch on the parents of the bride at a wedding reception. Emotions tend to make people remember associated events more vividly. You probably can recall where you were and what you were doing around the time of traumatic events, for example. Thus, your target might not be as apt to accept a false memory if you told him or her that they experienced something highly emotional. In 1999, researchers at the University of British Columbia did succeed in convincing 26% of their subjects that they had been victims of a vicious animal attack in their childhood. But the research team's sophisticated methods probably won't apply in a practical joke setting. Choosing a childhood memory will give you the best odds of success. You'll have an easier time implanting something that supposedly occurred far in the past. Since this is meant to be a practical joke, I recommend creating a false memory that's comical and not potentially life-scarring. If you want more of a challenge, try to implant a memory that supposedly occurred more recently. For example, you could concoct a scene at a bar in which you purchased your friend a plethora of drinks, and he or she never paid you back. That way, should you succeed, you'll get some money out of the deal, which you will, of course, give back once you reveal your playful deception. With the memory and target selected, your third task is to prepare. You're going to need a couple of things if the prank will have any chance of success. First off, you'll need to formulate some narrative details surrounding the false memory. Be as specific as possible. What outfit was your friend wearing? What were the circumstances that led to the event? What was the setting like? Who was there? If you're skilled at editing images, you could also try doctoring a photo. In 2002, psychologists exposed 20 subjects to a false childhood event using a fake photograph. Over 3 interviews, subjects were instructed to think about the photo, which showed them on a hot air balloon, and were made to recall the event with guided imagery exercises. At the study's conclusion, 50% of subjects ended up concocting complete or partial false memories. You'll also need corroborators. The more the better. The power of corroboration in instilling false memories was demonstrated in the 1990s by researchers at Williams College. In their study, participants were falsely accused of causing a computer to crash by pressing a wrong key. According to Loftus, the innocent participants initially denied the charge, but when a Confederate said that she had seen them perform the action, many participants signed a confession, internalized guilt for the act, and went on to confabulate details that were consistent with that belief. Now you're ready to set your plan in motion. When you commence, be persistent. The memory may not stick right away. You'll probably have to bring it up multiple times over a span of days or even weeks. Additionally, don't be afraid to use peer pressure. You and your compatriots should utilize phrases like the following. Really? You don't remember that? Seriously? You were there. Your memory is awful. Memory isn't static. It's fickle, ever-changing, and easily tampered with. A patchwork quilt that can be ripped, torn, and remade. Perhaps what we actually remember, says Carl Sagan, is a set of memory fragments stitched onto a fabric of our own devising. If we sew cleverly enough, we have made ourselves a memorable story easy to recall. Still, implanting a false memory in a person and having them fully believe it takes some doing. Even in the lab, researchers succeed less than half of the time, but it can be done. So away, my friends, so away. That's all we have for you today. Let us know in the comments if you ever experienced false memories. Don't forget to give us a like and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more interesting videos like this. Thank you for watching. Till next time.